is the cleanest of clean finishes from the best on the planet.
It's time for the biggest sports stories.
Liverpool, the champions of Europe, are top of the world.
The biggest interviews.
That such a great spectacle is ruined by such thuggish behavior.
And all the analysis right here.
He's the one player that has the arrogance to think that he can play in any stadium in the world and any pitch in the world in front of any player in the world and take them on.
Every weekday, it's my sport, it's your sport. It's ZiFM Sport. Let's join the team for the biggest show in the world of sport on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.
It's Top Hit Tuesday, Zimbabwe. Welcome to it at ZiFM Sport on a Tuesday evening. And we call it Top Hit because we give you the top stories out of the world of sport and also play the top hits when it comes to our power play and indeed our play of the day. In the studio today, Mike Madoda, Mark Poz and Alois Bunjira, our producer Sean Tafirenyika. My name is Barry Manandi, and joining us in the studio is a special guest from ZIMOCO. And that wasn't his only qualification that he had to pass to get into the studio. He had to declare himself a Liverpool fan. We'll hear who he is from Mike a bit later on. But onto the headlines on the home front. The Zimbabwe national sevens rugby team, the Cheetahs, go into camp on Thursday to start preparing for the inaugural World Rugby Challenger Series, first leg to be held in Chile. And we'll get to hear from Zimbabwe Rugby President Aaron Jani, the union's focus for the Sevens.
Well, that special guest in studio is the ZIMOCO commercial manager, Manfred Chaniwa. He's with us live in studio. That's because today is Tuesday, so we have our weekly staple, the Formula One report, which is proudly brought to you by ZIMOCO, where in the news, Max Verstappen has declared war by believing Red Bull can deliver him a Formula One car this year to take the fight to Mercedes, insisting that Lewis Hamilton is good but not God. You'll hear the thoughts of the team in studio, as well as some of the exciting developments happening at ZIMOCO from Manfred Chaniwa a bit later on in our international sports news.
And in Around the World in 60, Serena Williams needs to change her strategy and face reality, says her coach. In South Africa, the Stormers are wary of veteran fly-half Morne staying ahead of Saturday's South African Super Rugby derby against the Bulls. And Japan's Olympics minister says there is no plans to cancel this year's games because of the coronavirus.
All right, we'll dive into our play of the day, and this week we are looking at music from TKZ out of Muzansi, and then we go into our Polenta Nutri-Active Instant Porridge Sports Trivia before we get into the beautiful game, where there are rumours of trouble in paradise, as sources say. Manchester City players asked Pep Guardiola to temper his tinkering during their 45-minute lock-in at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium after their Premier League match. Real Madrid have been dragged into the recent Kylian Mbappe and Thomas Tuchel argument, with Florentino Perez devising a meticulous plan which will see Mbappe join Real Madrid. In Serie A, football pundits say Lazio star Ciro Immobile is the best striker in Europe at the moment. And in the Bundesliga, Borussia Dortmund captain Marco Reus says his informed side can still get even better. What a show.
The Warriors, the Chevrons, the Cheetahs, the Mighty Warriors, and the Sables. From the pool to the track to the field, we are Team Zimbabwe. The Home Front. Local sports news and analysis.
All right, let's get into it now. The Zimbabwe national sevens rugby team, the Cheetahs, go into camp on Thursday to start preparing for the inaugural World Rugby Challenger Series, first leg to be held in Chile on the 15th and 16th of February. Zimbabwe will join countries at the event, which include Brazil, Chile, Germany, Hong Kong, Italy, and 3 invitational sides, Colombia, Mexico, and Paraguay. We caught up with Zimbabwe Rugby Union President Aaron Jani, who spoke to us about some of the plans the union has for the Sevens team this year.
If we look at the other side, we look at the Sevens, we performed very well. We managed to get them to the World Cup, and we managed to get them to Europe as a precursor to the World Cup. So those were all very big positives. But we now face a situation where most of our players are now also retiring. So we need to inject new blood. So this is one area that we really need to focus on as the union. It's the issue of development. We want to develop new players so that we can inject new blood into the sevens, into the women's, into the sables. So that's going to be our main thrust this coming year.
All right, in terms of the camp itself, the players are trooping in, and we will start camp effectively on the 6th. Our players are coming from their foreign bases, and those local returned to their clubs until we reconvene on the 6th of February. That was Cheetahs team manager Simba Danga. That's to do with the camp, but Mike, one of the elements that we've always talked about the Cheetahs and complimented them on is the fact that this team had been together for a very long time. They're all getting along in the truth. It's a consequence of life. It was going to happen. Unfortunately, from the rugby president, we realized that now we're thinking about the fresh wave. It's going to be a little bit concerning for the next couple of years.
Well, I'm concerned with the fact that he's starting to think about it now.
Yeah.
He should have been thinking about it 10 years ago. You know, when is the next generation going to come in? And so for me, that just shows you that perhaps their strategies, their grassroots programs are not yielding much fruit, because we've had more or less the same players that we've been talking about on sports shows for the last 6, 7, 8 years.
Yep.
You know, it's been more or less the same names. Would love to see the youngsters coming through, and I think this tournament here, which they're going to South America, is a decent enough tournament. The level of competition is not going to be high, because you're taking a look at the nations that are participating. So it's the ideal tournament to blood in youngsters, to blood in the next generation, and to see what they can offer.
Yeah, absolutely. And Poz, you look at the list of nations, you'd probably think to yourself, Hong Kong probably a strong challenger. But as Mike points out, none of these nations are on the HSBC main circuit. So it's a competition that, if we are in transition, this is the sort of tournament that you want to participate in, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. But what is concerning me here a little bit is that suddenly we're going into a camp only like a week before the tournament starts. Surely our preparation has been going on long before that.
Yeah.
Surely that's something that really worries me. I mean, why go into camp a week before we fly out to go and take on in this tournament? I find this bizarre.
Sort of is it not the usual, Zim story? The union will tell you that we don't have the money.
We
don't have the money to be camping for a month, so we're just going to do a hash job, a quick job for a week, and hope the boys are good enough.
But I feel that you are right on the money on that. It sounds also from Simba Danga, the Cheetahs team manager, to be fair, it seems like the local players have congregated, have been sent back to their bases, and then will reconvene with all the other international players. The question is, what's the balance between the local and internationals? That's probably the concern. I want to go back to the issue of development with you, Mike. Now, we've got schools now playing sevens. The clubs are playing sevens, the old Georgians and all sorts. They're playing more sevens now. Surely, from a developmental perspective, that is going to assist us in the short term.
Yeah, Barry, but the problem with us, we think high school is development. I beg to differ.
It's too late.
If kids are playing sevens in high school, that for me is way past development. Development is 8-year-olds. 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds playing sevens rugby, because that's when you can really lay the foundation. Once a kid gets to about 16, 17, for me, I think you can only just sharpen or at least just polish the rough edges. You can't input much. I think you got to start a lot lower. Look at Russia. Russia has now made it mandatory. It's now part of the school curriculum, sevens rugby in Russia. Yeah. It's now part of the school. That means little nippers, 5 years old, 6 years old, in Russia, play sevens rugby.
From all the start.
They're from the very start.
You don't start at 15.
Yeah, you don't start at 15 and 16 or 17. And we know when we were at school, Barry, sevens was for fun. And sevens was for the guys who couldn't cut it at 15.
Correct. Absolutely. And the sevens tournament will come at the end of the season, and you'll all have a laugh and a kickabout, go across, do the tournament, and that's what it was. Now it's got to be mainstream. Well, it's the first test for this new squad, and also the Cheetahs will also be competing in the 2020 Olympic qualifiers against Brazil, Chile, Jamaica, China, Mexico, Samoa.
China.
I was this close to saying that. Anyway, China.
The shorter you nearly came out. Left out.
It left out. Mexico, Samoa, Ireland, Uganda, Tonga, Hong Kong and France for the last spot, which is up for grabs. Our Cheetahs leave for Chile next week. All the best, boys.
Hi, my name is Sean Williams, Zimbabwe cricket captain. You're listening to ZiFM Sport. Z.
Right, moving on with the rest of our local sports news roundup. We'll start with cricket. Zimbabwe under-19 cricket coach Prosper Utseya has backed the bulk of the players in the team he took to this year's ICC under-19 World Cup to one-day play for the Chevrons. Despite finishing as the 11th best team out of the 16 which took part at the tournament, Utseya believes some improvement was being made. Calls have been growing for the likes of Wesley Madavere and Milton Shumba to be drafted into the Chevrons for this month's tour of Bangladesh. To Region 5, where Youth, Sports, Arts and Recreation Minister Kirsty Coventry says the hosting of the Africa Union Sports Council Region 5 Sports Museum is going to benefit the country. Zimbabwe signed a memorandum of understanding last Wednesday with the AUSC Region 5 that will see the museum housed at the National Sports Stadium. Coventry revealed she's hoping hosting the regional museum will lead to the creation of a national museum which specifically celebrates local athletes and their achievements. To the Casalaga Premier Soccer League, where Caps have pulled all the strings to address their defensive frailties which cost them the league title last season. Makepa were close to winning the title last term but started losing the plot after defensive pillar Method Wanjali got injured. The pairing of either Spencer Masunda and Justice Jangano, or the latter with Godwin Goreti, always flattered to deceive, with the left back position another source of worry for coach Darlington Doro. Out of the 28 players training with Caps United, 18 are new, with half of them being either defenders or goalkeepers, reaffirming coach Darlington Doro's commitment to reinforce his defence.
From sunny Melbourne to the streets of Monaco, the deserts of Bahrain to the jungles of Brazil, get up to speed on the Formula One Report. The Formula One Report is proudly brought to you by ZiMOCO, the home of F1 brands Mercedes-Benz and Alfa Romeo in Zimbabwe. ZiMOCO, specialized service for special brands.
As you know, the Formula One Report is delivered every single Tuesday in style and elegance by ZiMOCO. And in the studio today, we've got the business development and commercial manager over at ZiMOCO, Manfred Chaniwa. We're going to call you Manny.
Manny.
Because we can.
How are you guys doing?
Good, thanks, bud. Why are you here?
Well, look, I thought it's good to put a face, or not a face,
a voice. And you got a radio voice, by the way.
Voice,
you got a radio
put
voice.
Put a voice to all that we've been sponsoring for the last year, since last year. ZiMOCO is here with a bang.
Right. And tell us about Saturdays, because we understand that Saturdays are getting exciting by the day.
No, definitely they are. As you know, like we're in the month of February, and we normally run a promotion.
The month of love.
The month of love. So we're doing a special where you come to the showroom, come test drive one of our models in the show, Mercedes-Benz, Havao, Jeep, any of the models, and we've got coffee and croissants.
Right.
Yeah.
For free.
For free.
Just for test driving.
Yeah. Croissants.
Very fancy. Very fancy.
In addition to that, we've actually started opening our service center at Semlevy Village, which opens every Saturday between 8 o'clock and 2 p.m.
Okay.
Bring in your car, service your vehicle. While you wait, come to the showroom, test up one of our vehicles.
Is it enough time for me to get my vehicle serviced, though? Because, 8 to 2, usually I go into other places, in inverted commas, and they'll tell me, oh, it's going to take all day, and you're lucky if you get it by 4.
No, definitely. So we do an oil change, which is your quick oil filter change.
Sure.
That's very quick. As you wait, within 1 hour, 2 hours, your car will be ready.
So I can get light bulbs changed, little simple things.
Simple things, your car can actually be sorted out.
And keep my car looking spick and span. And there's more news coming out of ZiMOCO. We'll be talking to Manny throughout the Formula One Report. Proudly brought to you by ZiMOCO. All right, let's get into the Formula One news. Max Verstappen believes Red Bull can deliver him a Formula One car this year to take the fight to Mercedes, as he insisted that Lewis Hamilton was good but not God. With the Dutchman having come off the back of an encouraging first season for his Milton Keynes-based team with Honda, which netted 3 wins, his sights are set on being able to challenge for the World Championship this year. This is a guy that we've talked up, Poz, here in the studio, Max Verstappen, as a likely challenger for Lewis Hamilton's crown, and it's really up to Red Bull to give him a car that's good enough to challenge.
Yeah, and I think he's spot on in that. The car is what for me what makes a driver. And yes, I take nothing away from Lewis Hamilton. I think he is a top class driver. But put Max Verstappen in that Mercedes.
He's a world champion.
He's a world champion.
Yeah. So the star of the show, according to Poz, is Mercedes.
I would agree with that, and also I think the star to watch is Max Verstappen. So it's a case of bringing the two together, and so I would completely agree with Poz to say that yes, I think Honda delivered a car beyond all of our expectations last season in the Red Bull, but wasn't good enough to challenge the Mercedes. Whether they can do that this time, I am not too sure. I still believe that Mercedes has a few gears and notches to go up. What's the answer? Put Max in a Mercedes.
Put Max in a Mercedes Benz, but he's just signed a new contract. So,
with Red Bull. It's not going to happen.
That's hardly going to happen.
Agreed.
So he's going to have to challenge in the Red Bull. Are you a big fan of Formula One thing?
Definitely.
Or ZiMOCO forces you to keep track?
No, I love Formula
Don't lie,
One.
you're a Ferrari fan. Come on, tell us.
He's a Ferrari fan.
Just tell us, man.
I'm a Mercedes fan.
You get the man
okay, I'm
fired.
a Mercedes fan, okay. Let's get that right.
You're a Mercedes fan, and you're expecting another year of dominance this year again.
Well, from where I'm sitting, I think there could be some changes happening with the drivers at Mercedes. I'm hoping that they bring in someone who can actually get that car up to the next level. Because last season we saw that it had the potential. I think when the clerk then came in later on in the season, there was that challenge that was now actually happening. But look, let's
so for you, for Mercedes, keep Hamilton, get rid of Valtteri Bottas.
Yes.
Yeah. That's your solution,
that's
and
solution,
that could be one way, of course, of making Mercedes stronger. But talking about Red Bull, they finished the year on a high. Verstappen took pole position in Mexico before losing it to a penalty for ignoring yellow flags. He finished a strong third, close behind the Mercedes in the United States, and then took pole and victory in the penultimate race in Brazil, where he passed Hamilton twice on track. Verstappen then finished second to Hamilton in the season finale in Abu Dhabi, and so he'll be looking to that great finish to the season to be continued at the start of this season, because if he's able to make headway in the first few races, surely Red Bull and Verstappen believe they can challenge Mercedes for the title.
Okay, so Manny, what's next on our agenda? We're going to talk about the specking of a Mercedes-Benz. So you say you can come in, you can have your croissant, you can have your cup of coffee, you can have your car serviced, and you're sitting around and you're looking at all these lovely cars in the showroom. Now, I want to come in there and I want to say to you, right, Manny, I like that Merc over there, but there's things that I want.
Definitely.
How does it work?
So basically with a Mercedes-Benz, from the A-Class all the way to your S-Class, you can actually spec a vehicle within your budget. I think the always misconception is that a Mercedes-Benz is very expensive. There are affordable options that are actually out there. You come in, we sit down, we look at your budget, we actually come in and plan a vehicle for you. And then you can actually walk out there with a big badge.
Okay, maybe tell people what specking is, because people might be listening and say, okay, spec a Mercedes.
All right.
What is specking a Mercedes?
So,
I want a sunroof, I don't want a sunroof.
So that's specifying. So you're basically picking up options on the vehicle. So car comes in standard, but there's certain things that you then want to add or subtract on the vehicle.
Color,
some colors are more expensive. Interior, seats, sunroof, aircon.
Yeah.
Some of them have got four zone aircon, 2-zone aircon. So all those things you can spec to the level that you want.
Manny, are you not selling us dreams here? Because in essence, in my layman's thinking, if I want an affordable vehicle, I'm just going to come and get the standard model. The standard model is probably going to come in at my budget anyway. So why am I specking?
Because you want something that's unique to yourself.
Okay.
A Mercedes-Benz is unique to the individual that actually buys it. So you want
That's a salesman in you that you just left out there.
Okay, what about?
Come on.
Okay, so we've talked about all the frills. What about the engine? Is there engine specking in a Merc?
Yeah, so engines tend to be standardized at the moment worldwide in terms of all the vehicle brands. So Merc has got certain standard engines that are actually there. But as you get to your bigger engines, i.e. your AMG 63s, then we're now having to tweak the vehicle specific to the individual.
So I can't come in and say, listen, you've got a C240. I would like a C210.
That's not possible.
That's not possible.
That's not possible.
Because they're standard engine size.
Okay, so you're talking a lot of the stuff that comes in as extras that come in. Possibly they come standard, but you want them specifically to. Let's say I want red seats. My favorite color is red
seats,
type thing, and
tomato or cherry.
Yes, or I want Draylon as opposed to leather. I'm trying to save money here.
Do you want Draylon in a Mercedes-Benz?
Nah, if you put in Draylon, don't buy the Merc.
Go somewhere else.
You want a tissue box as well?
Go somewhere else. Leave our coffee alone.
We still need the Mercedes-Benz, eh?
to still be a Mercedes-Benz. So obviously there's a range of options that are within the Mercedes family that I can pick from.
Exactly. Yeah. So there will be a catalog that will sit with you, go through the system, and actually pick out the items that you actually need, and then boom, off we go. It goes to the manufacturers, and we build your car.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Right, so get into ZiMOCO. Come down to the showroom the month of February. Get your vehicle serviced. Come for a coffee. Come for a croissant. Come and test drive the all-new Mercedes, and of course all the other vehicles from the Jeeps to the Alphas to the Havals. You name it. Call in to ZiMOCO. Manfred, Business Development Manager of ZiMOCO. Always good to have you in the studio.
Thank you very much.
With a title like that, you'd be calling
quickly,
Mr. Chaniwa.
hang on, quickly before we go. Are we going to keep him here to talk a bit of football a bit later? So when do you think Liverpool will wrap it up?
We are 5 games away.
5 games away.
You reckon 5 games away?
Yeah. You reckon City's going to drop one more?
It's going to drop one more.
I like your thinking.
I like it too.
I like your work.
That's our F1 report with ZiMOCO for today.
Z. The Formula One report is proudly brought to you by ZiMOCO, the home of F1 brands Mercedes-Benz and Alfa Romeo in Zimbabwe. ZiMOCO, specialized service for special brands.
Hi, this is Benjamin Locke. I'm on the Zimbabwe Davis Cup team, and you're listening to ZiFM Sport.
Around the world in 60 seconds. International sports news.
We kick off in the United States of America, where Serena Williams needs to change her strategy and face reality, having not won a Grand Slam title since returning to tennis, says her coach, Patrick Muratoglu. The American 23-time Grand Slam singles champion, who's 38, has lost 4 major finals since giving birth to her daughter in September 2017. She was knocked out of the Australian Open in the 3rd round last month. Her coach says Serena needs to come back with a different angle, a different strategy, and with different goals so she can make it. Over to South Africa, the Stormers are wary of veteran fly-half Mone Steyn ahead of the Saturday's South African Super Rugby derby against the Bulls at Newlands. The 35-year-old, who has rejoined the Bulls after spending 6 years at Finch club Start Francais, made a statement in his side's Super Rugby Open against the Sharks in Durban last week. The Bulls lost 23-15, but Steyn kept his side in the match with 4 penalties and a drop goal. And we touched down in Russia, where the World Anti-Doping Agency has submitted a formal request to the Court of Arbitration for Sport to have the hearing to resolve its dispute with the Russian Anti-Doping Agency over non-compliance held in public. WADA barred Russians from competing under their country's flag at major international events for 4 years as punishment for having tampered with laboratory data that could have identified drug cheats.
The Daily Sports Trivia question is brought to you by Perlenta Nutri-Active Instant Porridge. Kickstart your day.
All right. Speaking about sportsmen, do you like porridge?
I like porridge.
You like porridge?
I eat porridge every day.
You see, Michael,
in the morning.
Porridge is good for you.
And I was eating something else until it came to parent. I didn't know about it.
And now you
tested it.
It's quick and simple, isn't it?
Quick and simple. I tested it.
You add warm milk or water, and you can enjoy the goodness of healthy, tasty porridge. That's Polenta Nutri-Active Instant Porridge. Now, every day on ZiFM Sport, Polenta Nutri-Active Instant Porridge will be dishing out the daily sports trivia where you can win big.
Okay, on the line, we've got Farai, today's lucky listener. Farai, good evening and welcome to ZiFM Sport.
Yes, good evening, Mike. How are you?
I am doing well, my buddy. Where are you? Where are you speaking to us from?
I'm from Chegutu. I'm in Chegutu right now.
Chegutu pachegaza, but chimbonduza nezvendege dziya Farai.
I'm very right now by Chegutu. It's rainy today, yeah.
Aiwa, but nduda kuziva nezvendege dziya. You know, I went to school in Kadoma.
Oh, you went to Kadoma?
Yeah, I went to Jameson, and we always used to drive past Chegutu, and those 2 aeroplanes, you know, they've been there now for over 25 years. What has happened to those aeroplanes?
Yeah, they were used for the restaurants before, right? Right now, they're not used anymore.
They are not used anymore. I don't even think the restaurant took off. Well, what team do you support? Do you follow Chegutu Pirates?
Yeah, I used to watch Chegutu Pirates before, but these days, football in Chegutu hasn't been, very popular as it used to back in the day. But I support Chelsea, but honestly, I love Arsenal.
You love Arsenal, and okay, that one is very confusing. Locally, which team do you support?
Locally, I've been a Dynamo supporter, but I've been a Dynamo supporter for quite some time.
Okay, it's fair to say that Farai's favorite color is probably blue. Now, let's get into the questions. Question one, local question. Who is the Zimbabwe Rugby Union president? Okay, who is the Zimbabwe Rugby Union president? Is it A, Bright Shivandire, B, Aaron Jani, or C, Colin de Jong?
It's B.
B, excellent. The correct answer is B, Aaron Jani. Now, the second question, which you have to get correct to qualify for this month's draw. Which car does Max Verstappen drive in Formula One? Which car does Max Verstappen drive in Formula One? Is it A, a Red Bull, B, McLaren, or C, a Renault?
Max Verstappen is a 22-year-old. He drives a Red Bull car.
Wow. Wow. That
Formula One, after you talk about like Max Verstappen and how he could be the champion if he uses the Mercedes car.
Fantastic. Nice to know that you tune into the show and that you do pay attention. Well, you've qualified for this month's draw where we are giving away not just one, not just two, not just three, but 7 fantastic prizes courtesy of Palenta Nutri-Active Instant Porridge. Well done.
Okay, thank you, Les. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
The Daily Sports Trivia question was brought to you by Perlenta Nutri-Active Instant Porridge. Kickstart your day. A decade of dominance. Lewis Hamilton, Callisto Pasua, and of course, Serena Williams.
Irresistible, majestic, and the judgment of history will surely be that she was in a class of her own.
A decade of surprises. The Springboks in Japan, the Gems in Liverpool, and Ranieri's Leicester City.
Wes Morgan, Claudio Ranieri. Lift the trophy to the skies. Leicester City are the champions of the Premier League. 5,000 to watch on. They have stunned the football world.
A decade of goodbyes. Hamilton Masakadza, Richie McCaw, Usain Bolt.
Watch the clock, it's goal for Bolt, and again, he's done it again. They say lightning doesn't strike twice.
A decade of comebacks. Barcelona versus PSG. Hard life, Shireki. Tiger Woods.
This is going to be the completion of one of the great comebacks in any sport all time.
The return to glory. It was a decade of sheer thrills, spills, and excitement as the world came out to play. And in 2020, we go again. Bigger, better, and even more exciting on your favorite show, ZiFM Sport. The big leagues, the big teams, the big players. The beautiful game on ZiFM Sport. All the rivalry.
Here is Harry Kane for Tottenham. Oh, what a goal! A classic derby goal from Harry Kane. Catch him if you can.
All the stars.
Oh, back here's Liverpool 2 in front. Talk about impudence. Talk about improvisation. Talk about Sadio Mane.
And all the game-changing moments.
And Raheem Sterling rattles it home. And once more, City are in front in a trice.
All the updates from the Premier League on ZiFM Sport.
We're going to kick off the show with a bit of rumour out of England. Now, according to sources, Manchester City players have asked Pep Guardiola to tamper his tinkering during a 45-minute lock-in at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Guardiola has not picked the same starting 11 in consecutive matches all season and has chopped and changed formation since the departure of assistant manager Mikel Arteta in December. Some sources say that senior players have concerns over Guardiola fiddling with tactics and personnel, and some aired their views during the dressing room inquest after Sunday's 2-0 defeat at Tottenham. Now, if these sources are to be believed, Alois Bunjira, it paints a picture of, discontent in the Manchester City dressing room and also of disappointment at the way their season has gone.
Yeah, I think number one is discontent. When I've never seen a situation whereby all players are very much satisfied when the team is being rotated all the time. You never get a satisfied player. But what I know is when the team is stable and decent, people will make up their minds and decide that, you know what, I am a bench warmer. This is my place. They can actually be comfortable knowing that, you know what, this one is better than me. He plays, I'm not playing. So when you are getting rotated and all that, you are not confident enough about your place and you're getting rotated. At the end of the day, that confidence drops and there is so much discontent and all that. And that we've always talked about it. When you know, a fan knows that this is the first 11 for my team, you are in sync with everybody else, then you know that the wheels are moving.
They have confidence.
Yes.
And it's almost impossible to talk about Manchester City without bringing in Liverpool into the conversation, because Liverpool are the yardstick. You know, pretty much the same way last season it was impossible to talk about Man City without bringing Liverpool without bringing in Man City, because Man City were the standard. Is that the difference with Liverpool? Because Liverpool's team is very predictable.
You know it.
You know which team is going to be selected for the big games if the players are fit.
100%. Barring one possible change in midfield, you know exactly the 11 that's going to line up, and that's the consistency that's required to deliver consistent results. And in truth, if this inquest did happen, if the players did confront Pep Guardiola, I think that it's healthy for Manchester City in the sense that we understand that it happening was as a result of Pep himself asking the players, guys, where are we getting it wrong? And I feel that the players were very honest in saying that we're getting it wrong by this rotation that we're doing, this tinkering, and putting a midfielder at centre half.
Yeah, and when you look at the way the season has unfolded, Poz, you know, has the media not been unduly tough on Pep, unduly critical? Because he's in second place after all. I know the distance with Liverpool is a big distance, but he's in second place. He's delivered 2 titles on the spin in the last couple of seasons with record-breaking performances. Are we not being too tough on a man who set the standard in English football?
Yeah, I think we are, and I think the press certainly are going to find they're going to find somebody to pick on, and you can't pick on Jurgen Klopp because everything he does just turns to gold, and he's doing nothing wrong. So who's the first person you're going to pick on? You're going to pick on the guy that was the leader, and he's now sitting in second place, licking them basically, as it were, and he's playing second fiddle. So of course you're going to pick on him, and yes, I think he's been judged a little bit too harshly. I mean, there was a report I was reading, I think this morning. It said that if Pep Guardiola doesn't deliver the Champions League, it's been a disappointing season for Manchester City.
How can it be a disappointing season?
Why do people
I think it's harsh.
Pep
I think it's
to win everything season?
Yeah,
exactly.
Alex Ferguson himself, there were seasons where he even finished third outside of the top 2. So you know what? He is allowed. It's about how he responds next season.
Indeed.
I think then people get worried, Alois. If next season Man City comes back and there's no improvement, they show no ability to be able to close the gap with Liverpool, because they showed it in his first season, guys. Man City was so far behind. People started saying, welcome to the EPL, Pep. What happened the next season? 100 points. Record-breaking season.
Yeah, I think they're being unfair. You know, he can be winning everything. You know, this is a dip. Yeah, you won the last 2 seasons, and this is the 3rd season. Allow him to finish second, allow him to finish third. Like you said, the great Alex Ferguson, he was finishing third at times, sometimes without any silverware as well, and he comes back.
Let's also not forget that he's in a cup final. He's in the Carabao Cup final. He's
still
second
in the FA Cup.
He's still in the FA Cup.
Still in the Champions
League. So let's not judge him too harshly. Last season he went up and cleaned all 4 trophies. That's some feat.
Indeed, right. Neil Critchley has thanked Liverpool boss Jurgen Klopp for his unbelievable support ahead of the FA Cup 4th round replay against Shrewsbury tonight, with the under-23s set for a unique night at Anfield. Liverpool's under-23s will represent the first team in the replay, with their manager Critchley in the dugout, as he was when the club fielded the same squad for their 5-0 defeat to Aston Villa in the Carabao Cup quarter-finals. Let's get the thoughts of Liverpool's under-23 boss Neil Critchley, who admits that the side to face Shrewsbury in the Cup tonight could be under-19s and under-20s at best.
Ridiculous when you're talking about experience when Curtis has only just turned 19, and other players, we're going to have players who are eligible to play in the under-18 team, a youth team. You know, people say an under-23 team. We're not. We're going to be under-19, under-20 at best. But, you know, there's always a a lot of people speaking about young players not getting opportunity in this country. Well, they're going to get an opportunity tomorrow night, and they've already had an opportunity this season, because that's what the manager does. So I can't wait.
Okay, lots of talk about this game tonight. The Shrewsbury Official Supporters Club have accused Liverpool and Klopp of lack of respect towards the Sky Bet League One team and the competition itself after 2-goal hero Jason Cummings secured that shock second meeting with a trip to Chelsea, awaiting the winners in the 5th round. Now, guys, that's point number one. Is Liverpool and Klopp, are they showing lack of respect, 1 to Shrewsbury, 2 to the FA Cup? And in response, we have had reports now that the FA are coming hard on Liverpool, but in a little silent way, by saying they're not going to have this game screened on television.
Disrespect, I tend to agree. Yes, they're not respecting the tournament at all. Disrespecting the... No, it's going too far by saying they are disrespecting the opponent. No. They are disrespecting the tournament because they made that decision that they don't want to use their first team for that tournament. So it's not about Shrewsbury. It's about the tournament.
But Shrewsbury are saying that they've been...
No, why would they want to be? Why would they want to be playing the full strength Liverpool side? They must just get on and play and beat these boys and proceed to the next round.
Klopp and the other teams. What I think Klopp's stand is that we were assured at the start of the season that the teams would have an uninterrupted 2-week winter break.
Yeah.
You cannot reschedule matches in that winter break, because now we can't rest our players. Because for Liverpool, if Liverpool had to train this whole week and then play this game, they're not having the rest. Where's the rest? Why are you rescheduling?
Players are going away this week. They're on holiday.
They're on holiday now.
Then they're training next week for games that are going to be happening next week.
So he's saying, why are you rescheduling this match during the winter break? There should be no football during the winter break. Let's pick it up later on.
Yeah, he has got a point. He has got a point. But then this is not only for Liverpool. This is happening for all the clubs. They
yes,
didn't just say
he's not
he's not managing those clubs. He's managing Liverpool.
He's managing Liverpool.
That's what I'm saying. He's not necessarily complaining for Liverpool. He's complaining to say the FA are speaking from both sides of their mouth, where they're saying that you're going to have an uninterrupted winter break. Oh, hang on. There's actually FA Cup action. So the teams that are participating in these replays are, like, for instance, Newcastle United. Newcastle players aren't going to get a winter break because they're playing tonight, and then they probably get 3 days off. And next week they're back in training.
I do understand. That's why I said he has a point. But then it is what it is. These matches have been scheduled. What does he do? His response is like he's a one-man band. He's showing that, you know what, I can actually respond on my own. The rest of the managers, you can go on and do it. But as Klopp, I'm not gonna do it. So that's where the disrespect is coming from. As for Shrewsbury, I don't know. By blacking out the team with the match from television, I think that the FA is just being petty, because us as fans would have actually loved to see those. We would love to see.
Anfield is sold out. 54,000 people are going to watch the game.
We want to watch. We want to see those under-20s. We want to see the future. We also are interested to see what is happening at Liverpool Academy.
Right, there's some other FA Cup replay fixtures tonight. Birmingham will face Coventry, Cardiff entertain Reading, Northampton Town are off to Derby County, and Oxford United will face Premiership side Newcastle United.
The league that makes football oh so beautiful, where artistry and strokes of genius are the order of any day, where the game is played with a smile and the little master creates his magic.
It's Lionel Messi!
All the news from the Spanish La Liga on ZiFM Sport.
The goal the world wants it!
All right, now in France, Kylian Mbappe has been branded a baby, and sources say that he could leave PSG during the off-season transfer window. The French forward was seen arguing with Thomas Tuchel on Sunday. Mbappe has been consistently linked with a move to Real Madrid during his time in the French capital. Reports on Monday claimed that Spanish side would be willing to pay a world record £250 million for the 20-year-old Mbappe. Previously set the record transfer record for a teenager as he swapped Monaco for PSG in 2017 in a £166 million move. Since then, he has gone from strength to strength and emerged as one of, if not the best, young players in the world. The boy was, in my view, was wrong to argue with his manager. No question about his ability, but this certainly does open the door, doesn't it, to transfer speculation?
Yeah, I think he was childish. Yes, we might call him. He's still a child, and a child was childish. He shouldn't do that. Sometimes give the coach the chance to do what he wants. It's the coach that is playing chess with his team. He knows what he's doing. He knows what I think it was very, very unfortunate for a youngster, especially to actually argue with a coach like that. And I think it can actually pull away some other suitors. They can actually hold back and say, "Hey, hang on, this boy."
Yeah, not a great attitude to have.
Yes.
Mike, what about the engineered rumor to say this has all been engineered, perhaps by a Florentino Perez who wants to make sure that the move happens in the summer?
He could be, of course, trying to create a situation where it makes it easier for him to join Real Madrid, where, of course, you then create this artificial tension between yourself and the coach, and then, we can't work together, we don't see eye to eye, and then it makes the deal a lot easier. For me, I still, is he, for me, the global star? He's a great player.
He's a good player.
He's a great player. But when people talk Mbappe up as if he's a Messi, as if he's a Ronaldo, he's not that.
No,
he's not
he's not
a Neymar.
No.
He's not that. So for me, I'm looking at this 250 million that Real Madrid is willing to pay for him.
Yeah.
And I think, wow.
It's on a wing and a prayer.
That's a lot of money. 250 million. That's a lot of money. I would pay. Even the 166 for me surprised me.
Yeah.
When PSG paid. I thought it was simply because it was PSG, because PSG has got the money. But to pay 166 for a guy, to be honest, who, I don't know. He's a good, promising young player. Okay, so how much would you pay for Trent Alexander-Arnold?
Yikes.
But when you look at it, this is the money that PSG almost were demanding for Neymar. Why don't you just get Neymar?
Yes,
exactly.
Just get Neymar.
So for me, I don't know.
And you're getting the finished article.
Yes.
I don't know, guys.
Everyone is hopeful that Mbappe is going to catch fire.
Yeah.
And I think on that basis, they assume that we can pay top dollar and he's going to be the
I'm going to ask you this question. Is he doing anything different than what Ibrahimovic, Cavani, and those guys
in their prime,
Lewandowski, or those guys were doing or are doing in the French league?
No. I
don't think so.
I would say no.
I don't think so. How much is Lewandowski worth then?
Yeah, because this transaction skews all valuation, and that becomes a problem for the entire footballing industry. Anyway, we gotta go. We'll catch you tomorrow for Wacky Wednesday. May God richly bless you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Manandi, out.